I want you to think about the last time that you chipped a ball onto a green about a couple of paces away from the hole and then missed the putt. What kind of reaction did you have? I'm guessing it probably wasn't a great one. Whatever it was, I bet it wasn't appropriate, what you probably said. You probably wouldn't bring that up in front of your mother-in-law at a family gathering. Something like that. You probably got a bit angry, or maybe it was the last time you missed a fairway and you're in the rough and you weren't happy because you didn't hit the fairway, and it's so much easier to play from the fairway, and the pros always hit the fairway. And you missed the green with a wedge and you were blowing up because missing the green with a wedge is like missing your mouth with a fork. Right, or maybe you missed that 6-foot putt and you think, I should be making all these putts. Well, what I've got for you is some interesting stats, okay? So what I'm going to start with is I'm going to start with at the hole. That 8-footer we were talking about, a couple of paces away maybe. The best players in the world average around about 50% from 8 foot. Let's talk about the next thing. If we're chipping, the best players in the world average hitting their chip shots to 6 foot. These are the best chippers, actually. The tour average is closer to 8 feet. As an average, whenever they miss the green and chip on, they hit it to about that 8-foot range. How often do they hit the green? 12 times out of 18 as an average. They're missing 6 of them. They miss greens with a wedge. Tiger Woods used to miss the green 20% of the time from 100 to 120 yards out. Something along those lines. The fairways? Man. They're only just above 50% nowadays because they're all bombing it as far as they can, but they don't hit that many fairways. So how are they the best players in the world? And you're sitting there thinking that you shooting your 90s and your mid-90s are better than them. You're standing there on an 8-foot putt, and I've heard it a million times. I should be making all of these putts from 8 feet, and the best players in the world only make half of them. This is the big problem I see in golf, and the reason I'm bringing this up now is that this ties heavily into the final R in my R.E.P.A.R system, react and review. And I know for a fact that you are not reacting in the best way you possibly can. And the big difference between you and the pros is they react in a way that allows them to learn and move on to the next one and give their full value to that next shot as well. If you're new here, this is the 5th video in my series about my R.E.P.A.R, R-E.P.A.R system to help you make better decisions out on the golf course and basically become a better problem solver. Because again, golf is not about consistency. It's about becoming a better problem solver because golf is inconsistent. And therefore we need to solve the problem that's in front of us all the time. So this is a system that helps you do that. Now, if you haven't seen those previous videos, I suggest you have a look at the links down below. You go back and you check them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're at 5, because otherwise this one might not make that much sense to you. But trust me, you watch all of them, they're going to be very valuable to you. If you have been watching or listening, you know that the first thing that we do is risk assessment. The second thing, environmental assessment. Third thing, plan. Fourth thing, act it out. And then the final thing, as I mentioned, is react and review. So that's the whole system that you can use in that minute or so to hit a golf shot. It's going to help you to shoot these lower scores. And I believe it's probably the most important missing link in most people's golf games. And how do I know that? Well, I know it was a huge problem with my game when I was trying to become a better golfer, and I had to learn it. It was a skill of how to react and review shots well so that I could try and get my scores down at a tour level. And then beyond that, I think that 90% of most amateurs' problems have got nothing to do with their swing techniques whatsoever. And the reason I say that is 30 years of playing on the tour. I had to play a lot of pro-ams. I had to do a lot of corporate coaching, and I helped a lot of people with how they reacted to shots and talking about things like expectation levels. Now I know you're thinking, Paul, I don't believe some of those. I watch the guys on TV all the time, and I know that they go a lot better than that. They hold everything they look at from inside 10 feet. You gotta ask yourself, what are you watching on TV? The highlights package. You're seeing all the best putts from the best players who are winning the tournament, who, yes, are holding everything inside 10 feet that week. But 2 months ago, when they weren't making a cut, they were missing everything. So the average comes out. And that's the thing. They're not going to show you all the bad golf on TV because it's not very enjoyable to watch. You go, if I wanted to do that, I'll just pay attention to my playing partners on Saturday. Why would I want to watch that? So that you see all the good stuff, right? So you've got to keep that in the back of your mind when you're watching top level players on TV. And if you don't believe it, go and have a look at the PGA Tour stats. It's all on the website. You can have a look at it. And hopefully some of them, if you believe me, you go, wow, that's way worse than I thought. And it is. 8 foot, 50%. Best putters in the world doing it 10 hours a day, all day, every day. They miss half of them on average. Now, how does that relate to us and this whole concept of react and review? It's definitely in the react part. And the thing that I notice is this game's about emotions, right? And one of the biggest things that really kills people's golf games is allowing their emotions to flow from one shot to the next, good and bad. Sometimes, like a hole-in-one, people get so excited that the rest of their round doesn't matter to them anymore. So their emotions are so high, they don't care. Most of the time it's the other way. It's when you've hit some bad shots and you're so pissed off that you just don't care anymore either. It's the same result. You're not doing your full preparation for shots the way you should be, and then it snowballs and eventually you're just giving up. So that's a huge problem out there that I see, and it's to do with expectation management. So what most people are putting their expectations on are external results. Now, the problem with external results is that as a human being, we don't really react very well to things that we don't feel like we're in control of. And so therefore, this game is brilliant at bringing out those feelings of uncertainty, of doubt, of fear. And none of them are a bad feeling. It's just what happens when the future result is unpredictable. Welcome to sport, and especially welcome to golf. So don't fear those things. Don't think that those thoughts are bad. It's called being a human being and reacting in the way that we're kind of hardwired to do. But what we do have is a choice as to how you're going to react after the shot. And after a thought's jumped in your head about, I should make every one of these putts from 8 feet. What I give you that number for is that what I want you to do is to go into some of these shots beforehand and go, you've got an 8-footer. And now that you know that the best players in the world miss half of them, maybe it just drops some of the expectation and then the pressure and the tension. And then you can go, well, what do I need to do? I need to read it well. I need to aim well. I need to try and hit it on line and get the distance right. And if the ball happens to drop one of those 50%, happy days. So that's how we can start to approach the shots in a way that isn't focused on external results, but focuses more on the process again. So this is one part of it, is reacting well comes down to where were your expectations before you even started trying to hit this shot. And one of the big things that I say to Chase, who's one of my elite level players, but myself and a lot of other golf pros that I've helped out over time, is that expectations are a great thing in the right areas. I want really high expectations on my players in their process, in focusing on the things they're in control of. I want you to get very angry if you forgot to assess the wind on a shot and it flew over the back of the green. You're in control of that. You forgot to add 10 metres on or take it off and it flew over the back of the green and you didn't do it. So you should have high expectations on yourself on that type of situation. Now, if you actually did pay attention to the wind and the wind switched on you and instead of blowing in your face, it swung around the other way and then it went over the back of the green. Well, now all of a sudden, because that's not in your control and you don't have high expectations over results, then you can kind of handle it a bit better. I'm not saying you have to be happy about a bad result, but I'm definitely saying that you can't let it sit with you. And a big part of that is dealing with the reality of the numbers of the game and how hard this game actually is, and accepting that you have no idea what's going to happen after you hit that shot. You could have any type of shot comes out. Now, we've got a huge amount of influence over it, but you still have to accept that you do not know what type of swing you're about to make and where that ball's going to end up after you hit it. And you have no idea what score you're going to make on the hole or the day. So if we can go into shots with dealing with expectations like that, dealing with reality like that, all of a sudden golf just doesn't seem so overwhelming when things don't seem to be going your way. Because you can also sit there and go, you know what, my averages will come back to me at some point. I just got to keep doing what I know I should be doing and it will work out for myself. So rather than being like a drug addict that golf does to us, what we can do is we can, rather than focusing on that big hit of a perfect golf shot that ends up going in the hole from chipping in over a bunker or something and getting really high on that. There's nothing wrong with that. You should enjoy that. But you should get more high and more excited about performing the right kind of process and sticking to that no matter what happened during the whole round. Because once again, this game's not, awards aren't handed out in this game for the best chip shot on the fifth hole. It's what score did you have at the end of the day. That's basically it. So we're trying to do this over 18 holes and over anywhere between, say, 65 to 120 shots, depending on your level. So that's what we've got to be focused on. So if we're focused on that and we have our expectations in the right area, what's a really good review? A review, or the way we should be looking at every single shot. Now, this is a bit of the acceptance before you even step into the shot. Is acceptance that I don't know exactly what's going to happen in a result. One thing I am definitely going to do, and you can have high expectations on this, is no matter what happens, I'm going to be okay with it and I am going to learn something from it. So after you hit the shot, you've calmed down a little bit after whatever happened, you just keep your emotions in check a bit. And you say to yourself, what worked? What didn't, and what could I try differently next time? Now, depending on your level, you might have a really good idea of all those things, or you might only be pretty new and you're not sure. But what I'm going to say to you is that I need you to give it your best guess. I've been doing this for an extremely long time with my clients. When I ask them something, what do you think just happened then? And they go, I don't know, Paul. And I said, just give me your best guess. And they come out with, I think I kind of hit the ground a little bit before the ball, maybe. Bingo. Like 9 out of 10 times, even beginners are so good at actually picking what happened at impact or what happened with that result. And then I ask them, well, what do you think you could try differently next time? Well, maybe I could put the ball a little bit further back in my stance so I hit the ball first. Great. There's a good idea. Now, you might need some feedback from a coach. You might need feedback from a better player to give you some ideas to begin with. But most of us probably can start doing this ourselves and start self-coaching, and you will get so much better at scoring in the game of golf. So that's basically the whole system right there. So once you've hit the shot, you've gone, okay, you have your little bit of an emotional reaction one way or another, but you've gone through that, hang on, I've got to learn first. So what worked, what didn't, what I'm going to try differently next time. You've come up with some kind of answers. Then it's now time to finish that shot and have your off trigger. Now that, for me, is the club in the bottom of the bag. That is the marker behind the ball on the green. That is making sure for you, it might be taking the glove off with that real loud Velcro, as you pull that off. There's all sorts of different triggers you can use to say, done. That shot is finished. Because now what you need to do is you need to just give yourself a break. You need to give yourself mentally some time to just kind of get a bit external, talk to your playing partners, have a look at the beautiful place that you are on a golf course for a little while, admire all that, pay attention to your breathing, whatever you want to do to just relax and not be so internal. Get your focus external to give your brain a bit of a break, because we're going to need to switch on again in a few minutes' time to hit the next shot. So it's a bit like an egg timer, all right? You want to be able to switch on and off. So this whole R.E.P.A.R system, there's a start and there's an end. And then the in-between stuff is a different story. And I'm going to do more videos about that in the very near future. And you'll probably be able to see one right here when I get it done. That's it. That's the end of my R.E.P.A.R system. It's kind of going in depth to quite a few of them. As I said before, if you haven't seen the other videos, you need to go and watch those. But here's the cool thing. What I've got for you is like, Paul, how am I going to remember all this on the golf course? There's a lot to think about. And all these videos are like 15 minutes long, and I've only got like a minute maximum to hit my shot. One of the things that you need is you need the system first. And one of the things I know from training people, and you'll probably know this as well, is if you've got a brand new apprentice or something come in and you need them to repair a golf club the right way, you'd have this in that order. And I don't care how slow you do it to begin with, but I want you to make sure you tick all the boxes the right way. And then what starts happening? They do it again. And again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again. It gets faster and faster and faster as the subconscious part of your brain starts to take over, and it becomes automatic and you're not consciously able to think about it anymore. So to begin with, this can take some time. How do you go about it? Well, I have a sheet for you which has all these questions just basically lined out, the R.E.P.A.R, right? So where don't I want to go? Where do I want to go? Environment, the lie, the wind, the land, planning. What club, where do I want to aim? What technique do I want to use? Act. What are my key setup thoughts for this shot? And what's my setup? And then the review afterwards. What happened? What worked? What didn't? What could I do differently next time? They're all the questions are mapped out like that. You can have that sitting on a little card, print it out, put it on your golf buggy, put it in with your phone, put it in the cart, put it wherever you like. And just to begin with, the first thing you want to do is go, which one of these do I know I have a problem with? Is it risk right at the beginning? Is it, you know what, I don't pay enough attention to the environment. I don't pay attention to my lie. I don't actually react very well to shots, whatever it is. Pick one of them and say, this is the main one that I'm going to try and do for the next 5 rounds of golf. And give yourself a tick if you do it on every shot for that hole. And then after 18 holes, see if you can get 18 ticks. So you've done it on every shot on the first, you get a tick. And you did it on 3 out of 4 on the second hole, but you made a birdie, but you still didn't do it. You don't get a tick, even though you had a good result. This is not about results. This is about your mental processes. This is about your problem-solving process. Try and get better at that every single time. And when people say to me, Paul, I just need to be more consistent, this is the thing I say to them. Are you consistently trying to problem-solve every shot in the same way? And the answer is a big, fat no. I guarantee you're not doing this well enough. We can all do it better. And I hope that you will get something out of this. So if you want that sheet, it's down below. You can download it. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. And I would love to hear your comments if you've used it and it's actually improved your golf game. So that's me for this series. Thank you very much. You can check out my next videos here that are going to be extremely appropriate about how to help you play better golf without any more practice. Cheers.